Welcome to the video, guys. I'm DaveTrippin, and I study Japanese for a while now. And I am not. If you're looking for the guy who's like the most fluent, ridiculous, pera, like incredible person speaking Japanese, I don't have that. But what I do have, and what I think is actually closer to a lot of people who will attempt to learn it, is raw, uncut determination. Gandhi said, our true measure of strength is not physical incapacity, but an indomitable will. So I was going to, in this video, list a few of my books that I really think are great for beginners, a series that can be really good for studying for the JLPT, and then basically you could think of this as like my top 5 list or something like that for getting started with Japanese. The 2 books that I would recommend to begin with are Mina no Nihongo 1 and 2. These, as a foundational series of books, are incredible. And I do feel like these may go up to, I think by lesson 44, like that's where the second book ends off, you're looking at N4 stuff. And in all honesty, if you knew everything at the N4 level for the JLPT, then you could probably pass the JLPT 3, but that would mean knowing everything from N4. So the distance you can go with just these 2 books is absolutely incredible. So I will, now that I'm starting the engine again and I want to get sharp, I want to, remember things that, tighten things that have become loose, I'll definitely be diving back into these 2 books. They're really, really good. So Mina no Nihongo 1 and Mina no Nihongo 2. Those are really, really good books. I highly recommend them. My first Japanese teacher, Misako Sensei, lovely woman. I miss her dearly. She's in my Instagram. You should follow me there, by the way. She recommended these, and it was a great choice. I really, really like them. The other thing that I would recommend that I use, and it's great for vocabulary, is Anki. And Anki, turns out Anki suru means to memorize. And what it is as opposed to spending all this laborious time creating flashcards for yourself, it's virtual flashcards. Of course, that's way better. And not only that, it has let's just use the hot word, it has an algorithm, or it has a mathematical formula built in that you will be shown cards depending on the deck that you've loaded into the app. And then depending on how frequently or infrequently you were able to get those right or wrong, it will show it to you in different intervals. And so it is able to track which cards you need the most practice with and those which you have actually memorized. And to track your progress is incredible. It's a really, really, really useful application, and probably one of the most prolific speakers of Japanese that I know who recommended it to me. He now works as an international coordinator at a university. His Japanese is amazing. He's a wonderful guy. His name's Jordan. I don't think he'd mind me saying that. So Anki is another really, really good thing. And you're thinking, but I don't want to make a bunch of virtual decks. That sounds more complicated than just writing them. Well, actually, if you go online, you can find Anki decks that have been made by other people. And you could then, if you think that there are cards in that you don't need, well, you just remove those cards. But it removes a lot of the work, the heavy lifting, so to speak, that you would have to do to get into it. So with those 2 books and that app, you can be off to the races. Now, what are a few other things that you might consider doing? I would say definitely apply for the JLPT, whether you're in Japan or outside of it, because I think that giving ourselves something to which we are accountable means a lot for our progress. That we have a goal, that we have a deadline, creates purpose, creates a purposefulness to the way in which we will study. The next thing, kind of on that note, that I would show you guys, so the one that I'm studying for, that I've been studying for quite some time, are these series of books. They're the, Nihongo so Matome. But you can get them at any level. I don't think these are so necessary, honestly, for anything below the N3. They're really, really handy at that level. But I don't think that I would necessarily tell someone to go for these. But when you do reach N3, they're really, really, really handy. They give you a kind of style in them which is similar to what you'll be writing in the JLPT, which is another series of videos that I might make because, yes, the whole time our ultimate goal as learners of the language is to get better at the language, but there is, if you want to pass those tests, there is a whole skill set to taking the test. And that's something else I could speak about because my last teacher, before I had to move, was really good at that. I came within 9 points of passing the N3, and so much of that when I am I hope to reassure people with how horrible I am, but I still keep getting better. A lot of that was due to her, and it was a lot of her knowledge of the test and to know how to coach me as well as she could. So that's some other stuff that I could do. The other piece of advice that I would give, kind of to start this off, my top 4, top 5 tips, whatever it is, for starting to learn Japanese, it would definitely be, this is, in fact, it's number 1. It's number 1. It goes without saying. These other things can come in and come out at different levels. You might find a different starter book than I've suggested here and you swear by it. What I would suggest is consistency. Consistency is everything. It's the way in which our brains know that this thing stored in our short-term memory should move to our long. And unless you study consistently, it'll come in, it'll fall out. It'll come in, it'll fall out, and you'll never see a significant development of your skill. You need to do it consistently. And you can just write it in a notebook if that's your thing physically, but there is another app. It's called Habit Bull. It's free. These 2 things I've suggested are free, and Habit Bull is basically just to mark that you had done study for that day. And that's it. It keeps you accountable. It gamifies it, so it's fun. There's another application. I'm realizing now how many videos I could make about this. But I don't want to do that now. I don't want to talk on and on and on and on. But I'm going to make a studying Japanese because I think when I talk about accountability, this will be another way for me to reflect on what it is that I'm doing to get better. And as a sort of down in the trenches student, like those who maybe far more people are at my level than at the level which is higher. So I think that's quite relatable for people. You know, you can think of me as your study partner. And we'll see how we do on the JLPT come December because that's what I'm registered for. So don't want to make this a long one. It was just those couple of tips. If you got more questions about applications, about studying kanji, about studying any aspect of the language really, to study it more efficiently or better, you can always write to me down in the comments below. That'd be awesome. I really appreciate you guys dropping by the video. Please do drop a like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. Consider supporting me on Patreon. It means the world to me and helps a channel like mine survive. But for now, the clock has run out.